All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here today, this afternoon, now that it's not storming. So I appreciate you joining when it's nice outside. Usually when it's storming is when, people are like, oh, I'll hop on for a little bit. So thanks for being here. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to drop in the slides one more time if you would like those. And there's actually another link nested within that slide deck that you'll certainly want, but I will show you how to get to that in a second. I will preface this by saying this session is being recorded. We have a few people who couldn't be here today and asked me to record it. So just know that that's being recorded. If you need captions turned on at any point in time, it's available for you. And if you have questions at any point in time as well, the chat is an option, or you can always unmute. Whatever option works best for you works for me. I love to use like the chat sometimes because I always feel like when I start to unmute and ask a question is when the person starts speaking again. I have terrible timing personally, but if you want to unmute, that's also an option there as well. So we are going to be looking at some helpful hints and tricks. So I originally called this like spring cleaning, but it kind of spiraled into being more than just like tidying things up. It's also productivity hacks and tips and tools and things that I wish I would have known about earlier on that I know now. So I want to share with the masses. I also am a part of an Indiana EdTech coach network. And I reached out to them last night and bless their hearts, it was like 9 p.m. that I tweeted and tagged them. And I guess apparently we were all working at the same time and they gave me a bunch of tips and things too, things that I didn't know. So we're all going to learn and grow from people around the state today. So that's our game plan. It's helpful if you have Google Chrome pulled up as your browser for this. If you want to follow along, you certainly can, but no pressure to do so. I will share these slides on the overall Webisode Wednesday document so that if you want to go back and reference them, you certainly can. It's not just something you have to come back to this Zoom chat and access it from there. I'll make sure that you can get to it. So really kind of, I guess, the UDL connection and why behind this topic today is that when we are thinking about the school year, things, I feel like I always started off so strong, like the first few months and like trying to stay organized and keeping things good to go. But as the school year progresses and I get busy, it's like, okay, I'm not using the same organizational method that I thought I would at this point, or I just need to take some time and go back and sort through my Google Drive or my Gmail and just kind of tidy things up a little bit. And when we do these type of things where we, give ourselves time to do that, we support our executive functioning skills. And when our executive functioning skills are happy and we're supporting them, we can be more productive in other areas of our life and just be better at what we do and be our best selves. So it's kind of the why behind today. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of different tips and tools, anything from like no tech options to some more high tech options to just some really quick things to think about when you're using Google Chrome and some of the Google tools. So if there are tools that you like to use or that you find to be super helpful, please put those in the chat as well. I have just been adding more things to this presentation as I've discovered things throughout the course of this day. So it just can get better and better the more that people share their tips and tools, because I certainly don't have everything. And when you think about these, also think if you're someone who's in a classroom setting, how you can show some of these to your students to just to support them. So our students' executive functioning skills are always in development. It's said that your brain isn't fully developed in that area until you're in your like mid-20s. So our students certainly need support in executive functioning skills, and staying organized and focused and on task are things that we're not innately born with. It's something that has to be taught and supported. So the more we can nurture that for ourselves as well as our students, the better off we all are. So here is the actual link that has all of the good stuff in it. And actually, when I give you this link, so it's going to show that you actually have editing access to it. So if you wanted to jump in and share your own tip, you can put it on a slide. There's some blank ones at the end of the presentation. Otherwise, you can just drop them in the chat and I will add them to the slide deck afterwards if that's more your jam. So what I'm going to do is actually pull up that link and kind of stray away from this one, because this is where I have more of the tips in the meat of this presentation. And what I am going to do throughout this, if it will load for me, there we go. Nothing like doing a Zoom and then the internet decides to start being slow. Kind of like the story of my life in this building. Megan's nodding because she knows it happens a lot. It's always in the afternoon, always. It's never in the morning. It's always in the afternoon, which is when I do all my trainings and my Zooms. So bear with me. I will move away from my slides as well when I try to demo and model some of these things too. And if you need me to go back and do something, certainly say so. So I am a checklist person. This is like my first one because it's something that I need to live by. I love checklists. I like writing them on paper, but I also like writing them digitally. It helps me stay very focused. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe, Google added in the ability to add checklists to Google Docs. So if you are someone who lives by a checklist and it's just nice to add things to it just so you can cross it off, then this might be a good option for you. So if you open up a blank Google Doc, helpful hack for that is just typing in docs.new. You don't even have to go to docs.google.com. It opens up a brand new one. It's there. Give it a title, whatever you would like it to be. And then if I want this to have a checklist, it's just right beside that bulleted list menu. So I can select it and type out my list. So I need to grab ingredients for dinner from Target on my way home. And because it's Target, that probably means I'm going to look at shoes or do something else that I probably shouldn't be, but Target, you go to Target and you let it tell you what you need. You don't go there with a full list of things that you know you need on the front end. So that's a to-do list. As I finish things, I can just cross them off. For those of you who are in a classroom setting or working with students or just needing to share checklists with other people, if you're planning events or doing different things, organizing stuff, the beauty of this is that because it's Google, you can always share things with other people. And it's also nice that if you forget to name something, it tells you need a title. So I can give someone else editing access to this and move from there. So that's just the checklist feature in Google Docs. So that is one of the many different checklist options I have in this presentation. One of my other personal favorites is Google Tasks. And I'm showing you several different options because I know everyone kind of has their preference and their style. I actually use this one all the time. Like this is the one that I kind of set up as my system, my way to do things. I know some people love Google Keep, but I love Google Tasks because of a certain feature that I'm going to show you. So Google Tasks, it's another one of those tools that works really well with Google products, but specifically, I love it because you can drag emails over into Google Tasks, and then I don't have to sift through my email or my labels or try to remember who was that person that emailed me yesterday and asked me a question that somehow in my mind I thought I would remember it when I really didn't. So I love this, and you can also put reminders on it to where it will send you a notification. You can put on your calendar. It's amazing. So it is technically a tool that is kind of hidden in Google. So I can pull it up in a Google Doc. I can pull it up in Gmail, Google Drive, and I'm going to pull it up here on slides to show you. But it's this little toolbar off to the right-hand side where it says Show Side Panel. And we're going to look for this little blue icon. I think it's slightly different than that. They keep changing the logo for it, but it's kind of this blue check mark. And that's where Google Tasks is. Technically, if you're an Android person, this works on the phone too. I'm not, I have an iPhone, so I can't get this to sync across devices. But if you are an Android person, it works. So here we go. Here is my list of things. So I have a lot of different things here, and you'll see that on some of these, there's this little email icon. So what I did is I opened this side panel in Gmail and I clicked and dragged that email over, and then I made a to-do list item. And for me to open up that email, all I have to do is just click and it opens it. So this is a tech conference that I'm interested in, and the proposals are due next week. No, Sunday, not even next week. See, this is why I do these lists. So I remember, because clearly I didn't read that carefully the first time. But it's super easy to do. And you can also just type out to-do list items if you want. And if you put a day and a time, then it puts it on your Google Calendar as well. So it's nice for reminders, nice for making sure you respond to emails and all of those different types of things. So if I just open up my email for you, I'm going to move over to one that's maybe not as scary to look at. So, okay. Sometimes my inbox is like spiraling out of control, and it's always bold to pull it up in the middle of a room full of people, even virtually. But if I just wanted to drag this over, now I have that as a to-do list item. So if you're having login issues with this, I mean, oh yeah, I need to go back and do that. So I put these over here all the time. And if I'm in a hurry or about to go off into another meeting, add those lists there. Some people are even better about using Google Tasks than me, and they make separate lists for different things. So they'll categorize them as like get ready to do, or follow-ups, or related to a specific topic or a specific person. and they make their lists and drag over all of their things for that. I just have like a giant running list here because that's just been what I'm doing in a hurry. But if you wanted to categorize them and put them into different lists, you certainly can do that. If you star them, then they stay at the top of your list here. So if it's something really important you want to get done right away, star it and it's going to be at the top of your list. All right. So with Google Tasks, though, I will say you cannot share that specific little checklist item here with another person. So just know that this is just purely your Google Tasks, not something you can share with someone else. So if I needed to share this with like Megan or something, if we need to follow up on something, this isn't the way to do that. There's another way, and that's actually a different Google tool if you want. So this is Google Tasks. It's one of my favorites, and I feel like it's helped me stay super productive, or at least keep track of things, especially my emails. The other option I'm going to show you is Google Keep. So this is one of those lesser known tools in Google, but it's amazing. What's nice for this one is that if you really like Google Keep, there is a nice cell phone app, and it does work on Android. It also works for iOS for Apple. So I actually used to show this to my students a lot. I taught middle schoolers, and they were still certainly trying to figure out how to navigate lots of different classes, and a lot of them had cell phones. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to make you this checklist, and then I'm going to share it with you, and then install the app so you can see it before you go. And a lot of kids really like this. It was something that worked well for them for projects. So maybe this is something that you show your students or even your own children if it works well for you. So to open Google Keep, if you have my slides open, the picture is actually hyperlinked. But it looks like this. It's just like a digital sticky note view. And it's super easy to use. So it's cloud-based. It saves automatically. I can type out things here. I can type, some people just use it as a note-taking tool, actually. I have a friend who, whenever she goes to like a conference or an event, she just uses this on her phone. You can add in pictures onto these as well. So if you're using your cell phone, sometimes that's a nice option. I can make lists on here as well. It helps if I type correctly, remember how to spell. There's a checklist option. Add those. I can color code them, add backgrounds. So if you have like a color coding system, then maybe like personal things are always purple, or like work things are always green, whatever you would like it to be. I can share this with another person. So this is the difference between Tasks and Google Keep, is that if I needed to share this with someone who's working on a project with me, I type in their email. Now they see this note on their Google Keep account. They can cross things off, do whatever they need to do. So when my students worked in projects, we often would have them map out roles and different things on Google Keep, and then they would share it with me so then I could keep eyes on it, but I could also see who was assigned what and how they were working. You can also set up reminders here. So it's like a little notification in the background. It'll show up on your phone. You use the phone app, but it also will give you a nice little like ping in the background if you set a specific day or time. Another piece related to Google Keep. So it's kind of similar to Tasks in that I can open it from the side panel at any point in time as well in Google. So if I'm looking here at my email, if I have this Google Keep to-do list of stuff here, I can still cross things off from here if I need to. So I can always pull that up and open it. And this isn't necessarily, I guess, spring cleaning or like productivity related, but if you are a teacher, and I know we have a few on here today, especially some ELA teachers, I can actually drag and drop Google Keep notes and put them over into a Google Doc as well. So that's kind of a lesser known secret with Google Keep. What I've seen some teachers do is like this. So you make a to-do list and then you drag and drop. Or if I create some feedback for my students or stickers, that I don't have to sit there and paste them into every single assignment. Like if this is a reminder on citing sources, I can drag and drop. And now I just added that onto my students' assignment so that they see this is what they need to do. Or if you want to be extra and you have a Bitmoji of yourself, drag that over. And now they have me, my sticker on there. I need to have shorter hair though. Last time my hair was that long was a while ago. Gotta update my Bitmoji. Should have put that on the presentation. But that's just another cool thing about Google Keep, is that it just syncs some things over. And it's just a nice little efficiency hack there, especially if you're giving some feedback or supervising some projects and need to share those with others. All right, Google Keep. Next one is grouping and saving tabs. So I wonder, have any of you guys used this one before? I know it's like the people who use this love this and they swear by it. I do it sometimes, but I'm also like a tab. Yes, I'm a tab minimalist. So I don't love having tons of tabs open. It stresses me out. And it also, I think, stresses out my computer because it sounds like it's going to explode when I do that. But I was in a meeting like last week with one of our elementary principals, and I think he had no less than 200 tabs open. Like I had never seen anything like that before in my entire life. And I was like, why aren't you using the tab groups? And he was like, what do you mean? So I showed him this, and then it made both of us very happy because it wasn't like a zillion tabs is visible. So what you can do in Google is you can create tab groups, and now you can save them. So they've had the tab groups feature before, but you couldn't save them. So it was kind of like, okay, that's great, but I want to save them, so I have to open the same things over and over again every day when I start up my computer. And now you can do that. So if I have my tabs open, if I right click on one of these, this is where I can make my little tab group. So if I right click, add tab to new group, I can name this group, I can give it a color. So this one I'm going to do presentation. And we're going to make it, let's make it purple because I like purple. And then I can save this there. And if I want to add this one to that group as well, add to tab group, presentation. I wanted to add my Google Keep tab that I had open. I can make a new group. Maybe this is just like to do, make that blue. Save it. And there we go. So now anytime I close my browser, it's going to open all of those tabs again, just because I toggled on that save piece. So just makes it super easy to do, makes it nice because this tab group here, I can have multiple tabs in a group, and it just doesn't clutter up your screen quite as much, and it's all color coded. So whenever I show teachers this, I'm thinking, okay, you're gonna have to pull up your email, you're gonna pull up Power Teacher Pro or Power School for attendance and Canvas. Like, why not put those in one tab group and say, always keep open and then have it there. And then, don't have to boot them up every day. They're always going to open as soon as you open Chrome. So I love that one just because it's so practical and helpful. And I do have a tutorial for that one if you want to see just some videos on that. Next one, I'm going to be honest in saying I'm not the best at this one. I'm not a wizard when it comes to labels in Gmail. I just kind of like roll with my email and sometimes move things over there. And I probably should be a better practitioner of this. So Nick is who gave me this tip because he always has a zillion labels in his email and is very organized in that sense. But he creates labels in his Gmail, and those essentially act like folders. That's kind of like Gmail's lingo for that. So you can create ones that are color coordinated. You can also set up labels so that if an email has certain keywords, it automatically moves those into that label as well. My only caution to that is that if you have your building list emails being sent immediately to a label or a place that you don't check super often, you might want to make like a Google Calendar event or a Google Task or a Keep to remind you to go back and check those, just because those are containing some important updates and you don't want those to get too lost in the shuffle. But it's super easy to do. I have a few set up. This is an example of why I need to update this because I'm pretty sure one of the biggest labels I have set up in my Gmail right now is actually from our last learning management system. I don't know why I was going the slow way to open that. I promise I open Gmail regularly. Like I have one that if it has the word 360, which we don't use 360 anymore, and it had the word it's learning, like it automatically got sent to this follow-ups button here. So totally different than what I need right now, but easy to set up. And if I wanted to set up any of my labels, if I just go up here to the top and click the settings button, see all settings in Gmail, labels is one of the first buttons you see. And this is where I can specify some of the different ones that are there. There are some defaults. So if I actually don't want to see all of those, I can get rid of some of them. The other way you can create labels and manage some of them as well is just this little plus button off to the side. Depending on the way that you've set up your view in Gmail, it might not be super obvious. So I always wanted to show you the settings button in the way of getting there as well. My Gmail view is actually very different than probably what most people have. When Gmail changed their view a few years ago, I was like very resistant to that change. And I still have like the old Gmail look from like 2021, but because I liked that system and I was efficient. So labels, easy to do, great here or plus, and then you can color coordinate them and move them around if you need to. So just an option there. I just want to pull up this screen as well. All right. I'm impressed that 15 tabs open at once. That like stresses me out. Like I just feel like if I have more than like 4, I don't know. But I think it's my computer because my computer, like the fan is always going because I kind of run it into the ground anyway. So I think I'm just afraid that if I add too many more tabs, it's just going to explode. I was burning through laptops like every 6 months my first few years in this position. And our Google guys were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just in Google all the time. But it's because I like, on it 8 hours a day, pretty much the entire time. So yeah, I love it. Okay. Scheduling emails, also one of my favorites. I should have just kept Google open or Gmail open. This might not be super applicable to everyone, but if you are just like in a zone and you want to cross some things off of that to-do list, whatever to-do list method that you're using, I love using schedule send on Gmail. It makes me feel like, okay, I can move on to the next thing. I have this done. So whenever you type out an email in Gmail, before you press the send button, if you click the little up arrow right below your draft, there is a button that says schedule send. So you can send an email in the future. And I do that all the time. Pretty much any time that you get an email from me that is like a newsletter or something, I'm not typing it in that moment or just moments before. I usually like type it a day or two before. And then I also sit there and proofread it multiple days in advance to make sure it makes sense, because nothing like having typos in an email that goes out to the entire district. But it's just nice to have it set up that way. So just going to show you this really quickly and how you can go back and edit an email as well. So if I type out something, I'm going to send this to Nick. Testing out, schedule send. Ignore. Okay. That was a real message. And then at the bottom of my screen, schedule send, I pick the day, the time. It always gives you suggestions, but you can pick way ahead in the future, like months down the road, which is kind of cool. I can pick all the way down to a specific minute if I would like, and do it tomorrow, whatever time I need, schedule send. And then as soon as I do that, over here on my left-hand toolbar where it shows my inbox and my sent, now there's this new menu that shows scheduled. So if I want to see all of the emails I've scheduled out to make sure they're set, come here. And then I can also, if I realize like, oh, that was a typo, or maybe I need to make some changes, if I do cancel send, it opens it into draft view again. So I can make some edits, and then I just need to click schedule send again and pick the day and time. I do that a lot because it's usually after I've spent some time typing something out, I realize like, oh, I forgot a link, or I forgot to put in this, or there's a typo on the third word and I thought I'd proofread it. So just some options there. Students should have these options as well. I don't know if that's like super applicable to them, but I'm just thinking of like senior projects and mentors. Maybe it could help them set like a cadence of regularly reaching out to their mentors if they schedule some of those in advance. All right. Moving on ahead. Google Drive. Okay, now we're getting into some organization tips in Drive. So I'm going to pull mine up. Close in Gmail because we're done with that. Here we go. Okay, so lots of different ways you can organize your Google Drive. First thing I'm just going to show you is color coding folders and putting like emojis or different things in them. So whenever you make a folder in Google Drive, whether it's one that someone's sharing with you, you can certainly just put like a pretty bland title on it. I feel like I already have like 5 folders called that, but we're going to go with it. It makes it, always takes you right to it, and then I can always go back and find it if I need to. But if I click on these 3 dots, this is where I can do a couple of different things. So organizing it allows me to give it a certain color just so it visually stands out to me. Just know that if you make a folder and then you share it with someone else, the color that you apply, so I made this folder pink. If I share this with someone on this call, like it's not going to look pink to you unless you go in and you make the folder pink. So just know that the colors are just native to your account, only to you, but you can certainly tell someone to go and do that. When I taught middle school, some of our students wanted to have their Google Drive folders match their physical folders for the class. So we would spend some time the first few days of the school year going through and setting it up so it matches. And then it always turned into a pretty contentious debate about what color goes with what subject. And I didn't realize that that was something that kids, as well as adults, felt so passionate about. Like my mind always was like yellow with social studies, and the kids were like, no, it's green. And then I was like, whoa, like I had no idea that other people were using different colors. So Yeah, you can easily change those colors there. And then if you ever need to move a folder into a new one, you can always click and drag to do that. The other option is to, under this organize button, is where you can move it there. So what some people do, and I think this is probably a good habit, is they create a folder for those different years, and then they move smaller subfolders into those. I did that for my teaching. I don't do that as much now just because there's some folders that I'm using every single year. But for Canvas, I have tons of folders in here. This is one of my better examples. I have staff training materials, and then I had like summer training from last year, and I'm making new ones for this year. So just some examples of that. If you wanted to have some of your folders show up towards the top of your list, you're looking at mine right now, I tend to add in special characters so that they're at the top and I don't have to scroll because Brandy gets impatient. The other thing you can do is put in emojis. So lesser known thing about if you're typing on a Windows device, there's a keyboard shortcut to open up the emoji toolbar. So you don't have to like sit there and copy and paste it from somewhere else. If you're on your cell phone, it's easier to do anyway, but the Windows icon button and the period button at the same time will open up the emoji keyboard. So for Canvas, I always think of like art canvas. So maybe I want to put that on that folder. And there we go. And that actually moved it down below, which I don't know if I love that, but you can always go in and add in emojis to those different classes. And some of my students would do that as well, just so they had the different icons there for those different subject areas. So that's just adding some different options for your folders. The other Google Drive tip I'm going to show you is workspaces. So Google has kind of changed some of these words and things over the year, but essentially what priority or what workspaces can mean in Google Drive is if you are frequently working on a certain series of documents or with a few people regularly, then you can create a workspace or a space in your Google Drive where you can access some of those files really quickly. You don't have to search, you don't have to click into a folder. It's like you set up like a quick access space for them. I don't do this a ton, but when we were doing textbook adoption, I certainly set some of those workspaces up because we were really having a lot of meetings on those. If you have like running meetings with your department or agendas, this is a really nice thing to do as well. So if I go into my Google Drive, I have my home button, which kind of just shows like recent things. It's honestly in no particular order. There's all kinds of random things on your home button, but a few down from that is workspaces. So here's just some ones that I set up. Frequent docs workspace, I need to update this one. Tech leadership, we have a new agenda, so I could put a new one there. But the nice thing about this is if you go and set up lots of different workspaces for some of the different projects and things you're working on, it saves you from having to go and scroll through your drive or go into folders. You can put individual files or folders from here. So when Corey Williams was a UDL facilitator and we were planning out some different resources and things, I set up a space and it was just files that Corey and I were working on. So I could just go here to workspaces, click through and find those. Now this, it wasn't shared with her. Like you can't necessarily share a workspace with another person. You can always go back in and remove it. Maybe, you set them up together on your Google Drive, so you have similar things there, but it's just another way to increase your efficiency and stay a little bit more organized. I've seen where students have gone through and they've made a workspace that's just called senior projects. And then they put a bunch of the files that they're still actively working on in that space. If you set up a workspace, no, so, okay, workspace is unique in that if I have files in a folder, like if I have my Canvas files in that Canvas folder, and I have a document and I put one of those documents in that folder in like a workspace on here, it's going to exist in both places. So it's not an either or, it can be in both. You can still always get to everything in your drive from this drive menu where the folders are. That was a really good question. Thank you for asking that. I hadn't thought to write that out, and that's a good one. Another thing, I think this is actually like the second to last slide on this, but I'm just going to share it now, is if someone else has shared a folder with you, you'll want to make sure that you add a shortcuts to that folder that someone else owns to your drive. So here's an example. I'm helping Nick with some budget stuff this year, and he has a folder of some of the past purchase orders, so I can see when some of our tech tool agreements that we've bought have expired. So he's the owner of that, and it's not me. Technically, he shared it with me, so I can always go to the shared with me and find it from there or search, but it takes forever. So what I do is I like to add a shortcut to that file. So whenever he shared that with me, I click the little 3 dots button off to the side, and I said add shortcut to Drive. I already did that, so it's not showing up as an option now, but I can show you another example like this one. I want this to be in my Drive, organize, add shortcut. So now it's in my Google Drive. It's also in Tina Green's, who shared this with me. I don't have to search through my Drive to find it anymore, or only go to the shared with me. Now it has a location set in my Drive. What if I don't see workspaces under activity in my Drive? That might be a settings piece. Yeah, show workspaces. So settings button at the top, you should be able to see it then. If you don't, let me know. I don't think that's an admin setting that we've turned on or off, but it very well could be. Yay, okay. I like have Google super admin powers, but I've like got a really quick crash course from Sunny and Mason like last year. And I probably should have, asked more questions and taken more notes. So I know enough to be dangerous in there sometimes, but I'm also afraid to like go and click the admin console button and start clicking through things because I don't want to mess up everything for the whole district. So luckily that was a quick one and an easy answer, easy one to solve. All right, I think we're going to move past. Oh, we're going to start to move past Google Drive. Other hack for you. This one does take a few minutes to set up. So I'm actually just going to drop the tutorial in here for you. It was in the last newsletter I sent out in April. I still haven't finished the May newsletter, and here we are with like 5 days left. Nothing like getting things done in the final minutes and final hours of the school year. But if you technically are just like surfing the web and you need to pull something up from your Google Drive and you don't feel like opening Google Drive or, like clicking a bookmark if you have one there is a way that you can set up a keyboard shortcut so that as soon as you enter that in this Chrome Omnibox, the Omnibox is just this URL bar. It has a lot of like bonus powers in Chrome than like your traditional one in Firefox or Internet Explorer, all that jazz. But if you set up a keyboard shortcut, you can search your Drive here without having to go and click through and open up Drive in that way. So to set that up, it is a few things you have to do. I did put that in the chat. It's super easy, and you can decide the keystroke or the keyboard shortcuts that you want to use for that. I like to make it something that is not commonly being used or letters that aren't commonly together in a word, just because if you use something like your name or something that you type often, anytime you start to type that in the Omnibox, it's going to start searching in your Google Drive, and you probably don't want that. So I made mine something kind of super random. And just to show you how that works, whenever I open a tab and I type in that keyboard shortcut now, there's this first option that shows up. It says search Google Drive. So now the next things I type in, it's looking through my Drive for those files. It's not just searching the internet, it's searching through my Google Drive, and I just saved myself a few clicks in the end. So I was looking at that newsletter, and there it is, the work in progress. So setting that up does take a couple of steps, but it's worth it. It's just going into your Google Drive settings, not Google Drive, Google Chrome, and then you can go through and set that up as a keyboard shortcut. You can always go back and change it as well. So on that document I dropped in the chat is the one I have pulled up on the screen, where there's some screenshots, but there's also a video tutorial and then like an animated image that walks you through it as well. There is a URL you'll have to copy, so you will want this particular document. All right, I'm gonna close some of my tabs and we're gonna keep on going. All right, we're actually gonna skip that one because I feel like we need to move ahead. All right, next few. Sharing resources and keeping track of everything. So if you are someone who, when you're lesson planning or when you're, like going through stuff and planning projects or agendas or things like that, there are some helpful tools out there for bookmarking and coming back to things, or at least curating some of your resources. And this is one of them. So Wakelet is a totally free tool. I'm going to drop in the link to it in the chat, as well as the extension. So Wakelet is a free tool. It's designed for education purposes, so students have access to this as well as staff. And what it allows you to do is to create a collection of websites, links, files, videos, pretty much any type of media format or anything on the website, you can pull together in a Wakelet collection, and then you can share a link to that collection. So it's great for pulling together a lot of resources. I've seen some people do this for portfolios for students or for gathering things for a project, and the students can kind of like go through and explain some of the connections between the resources. For those of you in secondary buildings, this is what some of our UDL facilitators actually use for their newsletters. So it's a really good option for that. And it's also just great for personal use. If you're working on a project and you find some really nice inspiration from some websites, instead of going through and just bookmarking them, you can pull them into a Wakelet collection, and it's just a little bit more user friendly, and it's all in one space. So I use Wakelet all of the time when I was lesson planning because I liked how I could create separate units and it wasn't as many clicks as it was on like my bookmark bar on Google Chrome. So I love Wakelet for that reason. They also just have a lot of really cool PD opportunities for teachers just in general. So if you ever just want some nice inspiration for lessons or anything else, Wakelet is amazing. I'm going to drop in just their website. Nice thing with Wakelet is it plays really nice with Google resources. So your students can essentially drag and drop some of their Google files into a Wakelet collection, and it makes it easy to share. And if you want your students to be sharing their work with an authentic audience, Wakelet's also great because you can set it up to where it's a public link or with a QR code so that their parents can see a portfolio of their work or members of the community can. So it could be something that's really nice for bringing an authentic audience to students. And it's Google SSO, so you can sign up your Google account, not another password to remember. Super easy to do, and it is totally free as well. All right, moving on down the line. Next one. Okay, and this is one that I struggled with for a long time because I love my extensions. But while I love extensions in Google Chrome, I have a few up here, not as many as I used to. I do think that was a contributing factor into why my computer always sounded like it was going to explode, and also why I was burning through computers, because I used to have like 30 different extensions, and that's not the best thing for your computer because it really puts a lot of pressure on your computer to have all these things running. So if you happen to go through and maybe you're looking at some of these extensions that you're not using as often, you can always go through and kind of declutter them or add more if you need more. So it's always under this little puzzle piece. And I have more under here than what you see right there because while I parted with some, I couldn't part with them all. You can also pin some of your extensions too, so it's easy for you to access them if they're ones that you use frequently. But any ones over here, there are some that are district added just because we push out some resources that we pay for. We want to make sure everyone can access them. And then there's just the content filter there as well. But some of the others are ones that I've added, like Bitmoji. I can pin them, put them there. If there's any point in time where I need to remove one of these, 3-dot button, remove from Chrome, and then I'm set. I can also do that from this menu as well if I just right click on them. So that tip came from Nick because he was the one who told me you can't have like 40 extensions and then wonder why your computer is being slow. But I was like, but I need all of them. I really didn't, but just an option there to kind of clean up some of those as well. And chances are if your computer's ever acting weird, sometimes it is some of those extensions going a little rogue. This is more of like an end of school year type of thing. But Laura Ousley said that she always had like tons of pictures. She would take of student work or projects and stuff, and then never really did the best job of organizing all of those. So she said she would set aside time at the end of the school year and put some of the pictures in there of her students' work, or would give students access to a Google slide deck where they can put in pictures of their work, and then you can share that with the students so they have a nice little digital memory book for the end of the year, or you can even use that as a professional artifact if you've been snapping some pictures of some of the work you've been doing or projects. So just documenting some of that can be nice. And the beauty of Google is that you can install Google Drive app on your phone, just use that to take some of those pictures and then throw them into a Google Slides presentation. All right, we were almost out of time, so we probably only have time for like 2 more. So I'm gonna do this one, then I'm gonna jump to the end because I put AI stuff at the end. So it's award season. I feel like a lot of the awards actually happened in the last 2 days, so this might not be as relevant. But if you are still making certificates for people or need to, it's super easy to do using Canva. So Canva graphic design, we have a basically premium access to it as a school district. And there's tons of templates on here just to save you time in general. But I love some of these awards certificates that are in here. And I think I actually have one that I was using, and now I can't find it. So we're just going to look for it. Oh, there it was. Canva gave me that one because I made 500 designs. And I was like, oh, an award from me to me. Thank you, Canva. But if I type in certificates or awards, I can look at them, find one that I like, customize, but you can bulk create or basically mail merge a bunch of names into these. Oh, no color copier. You can't send them digital. I know it's not the same, but you can do it digital with Canva, with students directly, or give them a link. So on this left-hand menu here, this is where I can edit things if I would like, but if I scroll further down under apps, there's one called Bulk Create, and that's the one I have to install. I've already done it, but if you were looking for it, just Bulk Create and it comes up. But whenever I do, I basically am setting up how I want to mail merge onto this certificate. So I'm going to go through, and what I'm going to do is put in student name. And then I'm actually just going to delete these for this example, but if I had to put principal's name or something else there, I can enter data manually, or I can upload from a spreadsheet. And then I just type in the fields here that I need. So for this field, maybe it's just student name. So and there we go. And whenever I am finished or I'm just uploading a spreadsheet, I'll click done. It wants to confirm it. And now I need to connect the data. So the fields here that I'm saying I'm going to populate with onto this. So if I right click, it says connect data. And now I'm going to say, okay, this is student name goes there. I'm just mapping these to the right place. And then whenever I have done that, I'll click continue. It says, okay, you have 2 students you're going to give awards to. And then it makes a whole separate design. So I still have my original template if I need to go back and add more students' names. But there we go. I have one for John and one for Jane. It took about 2 seconds to do. So this is just helpful if you have a nice format, you just want to get all the certificates made pretty quickly. And you can do this on a lot of different templates as well. So if you have several different awards, it's just an efficient way of doing so. Last thing, and then we're going to wrap up, are some AI tools. So AI, I feel like it's like all the buzz in education right now, especially in the ed tech side of things, but there are tons of tools out there that can help you in staying organized, following up on emails, or just sounding a little bit better with your writing and your responses on emails. So a lot of these provide similar functions. I think it's just whichever one you find to be a good fit for you, or whichever one you find the interface to be more user-friendly. But I love using some of these AI assistants. I was working on a presentation earlier today, and I was in a creative rut, and I couldn't think of like a fun name for the presentation. So I just went to ChatGPT and said, hey, I'm presenting at this conference. Here's a description of my presentation. Give me a fun name for it. And some of the names I'm like, that is a little too cheesy. That doesn't seem like me. But some of the other ones were good. So it's nice for that. It's good for coming up with interview questions for job positions if you find yourself having to do that, or assessment questions for students, icebreakers for students or for meetings, all kinds of different things. Here are some of my personal favorites. I love Perplexity. It's my very favorite one. ChatGPT I use all the time. And all of the ones that I have here on the screen are Chrome extensions as well. Nice thing about that is you don't have to open another tab. You can be working on something, a document, like I was working on my conference presentation. I pulled up my little Perplexity extension and I asked it, okay, give me some ideas there. And it was so easy to do. And same with writing assistants. Here are some that can help you with writing. These are all freemiums. So there's some things they'll ask you for money for, but not necessarily all of them. And they just fine tune your writing and make you sound a little bit more polished, or can change the tone of your message. I know there's times where I'm like racing between meetings and I don't want to sound like I'm being short with someone. So I'll go to one of these tools and say, like, give them this advice, and don't make it sound rushed because you're just in a hurry. So it's nice for that type of input as well. Personally, I like WordTune. That's one of my favorites. So I'll put that here in the chat for you. But we are technically at 4:01. So I'm 60 seconds over. I'm going to drop in the slides for this presentation overall again in there if you want that to have access to it. The recording for this will be posted, but I mean, you guys were here live, so unless you want to watch it again, you've already gotten the full show. But thank you for joining. And if you think of a tool or a tip that I didn't cover that you want to add, the last few slides in this presentation, put it on there. Otherwise, have a great rest of your school year. Have a great rest of your week. And thanks for joining. Oh, Sherry, you're so sweet.